So did everyone get a little materials list from Farah this morning? Okay, so we got a little bit of update for that. So instead of using our soda cans, we're gonna be using some glass jars. So, thank you. I've got one right here. It doesn't really matter. It can be a glass jar or just a cup like from your kitchen or something like that. Or it can even be like a tin can, just something that is not too big on the top because we're gonna be putting a balloon over the top of that. So something that's glass, that's not, that's really solid and hard on the outside. It doesn't have, you know, a too big wide of an opening. So if everyone wants to put in the chat when they have one of those, that would be great. And if you don't have one, well, you can go ahead and grab your soda can, your soda can, and we'll try it with that. All right. Okay, well, you guys are all grabbing your materials. I'm gonna grab my materials too. You guys are good. Me too, Claire. That's totally fine. All right. Oh, well, let's look. Geraldine, you said you had 2 glasses? Okay, you want to show them and we can maybe see which one will work better? Okay. Well, why don't we use, and you too, Rebecca, either one, whichever one you like. I think both of them would work for the experiment. You're gonna have to take the lid off of it. Okay. All right. I've got my jar. Everyone has their jar, their soda can, or whatever they're using. Awesome. How about their balloon? Okay. All right, so if you're using a soda can, you're gonna wanna make sure that you take the top off, if there is one on there, because we want a really flat surface. So like the top of our jar here is kind of, there's nothing that's sticking up. So we're gonna want that for our soda can too. It can be kind of sharp, but I'm sure you guys will be fine. Amazing, Rebecca. All right, we got our balloons. How about our rubber bands? We should just need one. Yeah. Just like this? Okay. And a paper clip? Whoop. All right. And maybe like a piece of tape or a little bit of glue or something like that. So if you don't have any of the supplies, just let me know. We will figure something out. The last thing we need are our rulers. One of our coffee stir straw things. And I heard in the chat somebody didn't, Scotch tape is just fine. That somebody didn't have one of these, that is okay. We don't really need it. We can use our paper clip too. But if you have one of these, we can use it. And some scissors. All right. Is anyone missing any material? Tape? Okay. We'll figure something out. We can use our little paper clips and try and secure it onto there. Okay. All right. So the first thing we're going to want to do, this might seem like it's not going to work that well, but we're going to put the balloon over top of the glass jar. So in order to do that, we're going to have to cut it open so that we have a bigger surface area to cover it. We only need one balloon. Yep, that's totally fine, unless we mess it up. But we won't do that. So what I did to cut it was cut off the bottom where you put your mouth on, right about here. So maybe like 2 inches up. We can measure that with our ruler if we want to. Okay, maybe not 2 inches, maybe 1.5 inches. And just chop the top right off. We should be able to stretch it out and stretch it over the edge of our cup. This is going to be the hard part, especially if you're working with a soda can. You might want to be careful about the edges, and we might want to make it taut, which means that there's no wrinkles in it, basically. Yeah, this is looking good. And if it's not fitting over the top, what we can always do is, so we need to cut our balloon a little bit more. We can cut some more off the edge like this. And it will make our opening a little bit bigger. And we can fit it over the top. Just like this. Does anyone have a real nice taut surface that we can look at? I see Rebecca struggling to get it on. This part is kind of difficult. If you're struggling, unmute and we can help you out. Or we can hear everyone's grunting noises. Rebecca, I wonder if it would work if you moved it, like shifted it so that that big balloon part was on the side of it, sort of. Geraldine, you look so sad. What's up? Here, I have an idea. Okay, so you've got your balloon like this.
It keeps making the balloon thingy on the...
What happens if we make a tiny little cut up the side? Like just a little bit like that, so that we flatten it out a little bit and we can rip it so that we have just a piece of balloon that looks like this and it's nice and stretchy.
I don't know if I can snap the little balloon thing on the top.
Yeah, the balloon thing, it's just not going away.
Yeah, I can't get this to go away.
Mine is even big and it's not going.
Let's see, what are our main problems? Oh, Geraldine, yours looks just like mine. Yeah, that's all right. I think what I can do too is if I shift off this weird like bubbled part off to the side and pull it, then it gets rid of it. So that's just a nice, okay, well, this should work. Just a nice taut surface. Looks like we're struggling a little bit still. How about this? Does anyone want to try it with something else? Oh. You guys are dedicated. Wow.
Is it okay if the balloon thingy doesn't go?
You mean if it doesn't go all the way over?
No, like the bubble kind of thing on the jar, like on the balloon.
Yeah, well, we can try to get the bubble thing off, but if we can't, then that's all right too.
Okay.
But so you might want to try taking the whole balloon off the jar again, like this, and then putting it back on by stretching it where it is. Oh yeah. Stretching it where the bubble thing is off to the side so that it looks nice and taut. And you know what we're gonna do when we have it nice and taut is secure it with a rubber band. We're gonna go put a rubber band around the side so that it stays where it's supposed to stay. And it's nice and flat on the top. Ah, Ariel finally got it on the jar. Amazing. All right, and then after we have our balloon on the jar, don't worry if yours doesn't look perfect. Look, mine doesn't look perfect, but that's all right. We are going to take our rubber band. Oh, the bubble thing is gone. Oh, amazing news. We're going to take our rubber band and put it around the rim, twist it around there. You might have to twist yours around twice, maybe 3 times, maybe just 1 time until it's secure on there and it's making sure that the balloon is not going to come off of your jar. It probably won't, but this is just to make sure. And if you still have a little bubble thing on there, that's all right. Mine does too. It sticks out a little like that. Kind of fun to play with. All right, how are our soda can balloons coming? Ooh, Ruthvika, that looks great. Like the pink, like the pink. Oh my gosh, yours look better than mine. All right.
If you have a bump, if you like pull it all the way to the side and then quickly put the rubber band on it, it kind of holds it in place. So
Here, why don't I try that?
So I only have this baby tiny little bump. And you can't even push it in, it's just a little bump there.
I'm gonna take Rebecca's advice and woo, look at that. Amazing advice, it totally worked. If you still have a little bubble, that's totally all right. Do not worry about it. It'll still work.
I got rid of my bubble.
Amazing. All right.
It's like a drum.
This is a very similar concept to how you do a drum. Okay, so we're hearing the soda cans are not working for people?
It works, just the bubble thing doesn't disappear.
I think it'll be okay still. We'll try it out. All right. Anyone still working on getting their balloon on their jar or their soda can? All right. How about we raise our hands in the Zoom if we have our balloon around our jar?
It's like almost exactly like a drum if you have like a pencil with an eraser on it. The soft part.
We can make a little gwist band. Oh, I did the clapping hands. Whoops. There we go. All right, everyone ready to move on to the next step? Anyone have any Any concerns about their jar? No? Okay. All right, the next thing we're gonna do is take our straws and our paper clips, and I don't know if you guys ever do this, but I always, this is a bad habit, would unbend my paper clips, but we're gonna do that right now. So it's like straighten it out into a line. I used to do that whenever I was bored at school. And straighten it out.
In third grade, we weren't allowed to have them because one time a kid unbent it, like a paper clip, and left it to the ground, and the kid stepped on it and got a hole in his foot.
Oh no, I guess that is a good reason why we shouldn't unbend them, but we're not going to put these on the ground and we're not going to let other kids step on them, so that's all right. And we're going to bend it all the way so that it's, I feel like a beauty YouTuber right now, so that it's fully straight out like that, so it just looks like a piece of wire.
Is it okay if it has a little curve? Because I can't.
Yeah, that's totally fine. What we're doing with this is we're going to stick it in the end of the straw. So as long as it can go in the straw, that's all you really need. So then if you've got your paper clip unbended, we're just going to put it in the end of the straw so that it stays in there, but a little bit at the end is poking out. Doesn't really matter just how much you have, just a little bit at the end so that you can poke it like this. And if you don't have a straw, just take your paper clip, and we're gonna do the same thing with our paper clip that we do with our straw, which is when everyone has their paper clip in their straw or their paper clip, we're gonna take a piece of tape. It can be any kind of tape, Scotch tape, duct tape, masking tape.
Have I done this right? I don't feel like I did.
Let's see. Here, if you unbend it so that it's sticking away from the straw, like this.
How far in does the paper clip have to go?
Why don't we push it in halfway? Does it feel secure when it's in halfway? It's not going to fall out if you go like this and try and shake it out.
I put mine in a little more because I have like this bump right here, and so it helps secure it if you put it right at bump.
Yeah. All right. Okay. After that, once everyone has their straw and their little paper clip, we're going to take them and put them on our jar like this, so that it's about halfway on the jar, so it's sticking out like this. It doesn't matter which direction you do it, just it's sort of in the middle. And we're going to secure that with a piece of tape. And if you don't have tape, just hold on 1 minute. We will figure something out. Ooh. We're going to get a nice piece of tape, about as long maybe as half of our finger or so. And we're going to put it over the straw so that it fits right on our jar, on our balloon.
Which way is the paper clip end supposed to be?
Oh, great question. The paper clip end is going to be facing away from the jar. So it's going to be way far away from the jar on the end of the straw. And if you don't have a straw, then just take your paper clip and do the same thing, except it's going to just look like this without the straw. And so we're going to tape it right on there. And this will still work, but it won't be as long like that. And there's also, if you're just using a paper clip, don't push it in too hard because you might pop your balloon. I think that's why we're using the straw, so that we don't pop our balloon. But if you're careful, which I'm sure all of you are, it will be just fine. And rub it around on there a little bit, make sure it sticks. Okay, so we're taking our...
Oh, I can't get to stick.
our unfolded paper clip. And we're gonna just push it into the end of one of our straws about halfway down the paper clip. So that
Wait, are we doing this
Both
again?
go down smooth.
No, I'm just explaining what we're doing because there are some people that were confused.
It
So
won't
if
go.
you've already got your straw taped onto your jar, then just sit tight because you are pretty much done. Once we do that, we're going to take the end, put a piece of tape on it like that, and we're going to tape it to the top of our jar. All right.
If you kind of like shake the jar, it kind of makes a weird noise. Like if you bang it, kind of.
If you bang it, can you imitate the noise? Can you put it next to your speaker?
I can try.
I never listen.
I don't know if you can hear it, but
Oh.
it sounds like a drum or like a door or something.
Yeah, a little drum, because that's how drums are made, right? By stretching something over a circle, and then it makes a noise when you hit it because of the vibrations. It's pretty cool. All right, is everyone ready? We have actually completed our barometer. So does anyone know what a barometer is, or should we maybe do a little backtrack? Okay, so does anyone remember what I said my favorite kind of science was? This is
Wait. I
Monday.
have to guess. Is a barometer like when you're like predicting the wind amount or something?
Ooh. That is
Or is that a different one?
No, yeah, that is totally something that barometers do. So barometers actually are used to measure air pressure, which is also called barometric pressure, which is why it's called a barometer. And that can tell us a lot of things. That can tell us about clouds and rain and blue skies and wind. And it's something that meteorologists use to predict the weather. So we're basically going to become weather women, and we're going to predict the weather for the next few days. So I just want to show you guys a little bit about what barometers look like because I think they're kind of cool. And we're going to go back to my little screen, not this. We already know how to do that. Okay. You might have seen these before. When I first saw a barometer, I thought it looked kind of like a thermometer, just with way different numbers on it. And I was like, what the heck is this? This is not telling the temperature. It tells barometric pressure in a lot of different units, but it looks something like that. They're kind of cool, kind of fancy looking. And ours is going to do a very similar thing. So stop sharing my screen. Okay. So the way that this operates as a barometer is by measuring the air pressure. So the air pressure is going to be the density of all the air that's around us versus the density of the air that's inside this jar. So we just captured some air in this jar and it's in there now. Like it's not getting out. If your balloon is on there correctly, your air is totally trapped. So if the air on the outside is heavier than the air on the inside and it's more dense, then the balloon is going to sink into there because it's going to be putting all this pressure onto the balloon, and the pressure is going to be so much that it's going to sink the balloon in. So what do we think is going to happen to the paper clip on the end when the balloon sinks in?
It's gonna push out.
Yeah, so we can actually test this. So make sure you have a really light finger and try pushing on the balloon a little bit right in the middle. Just enough so that your paper clip is actually going up. So one way that you can actually tell this is if you hold it up against a ruler. Here, I can adjust like this. So if we've got about there, and we push on it right in the middle, our paper clip, oh, now it's up there. So if the air pressure on the outside of the jar is really high, then our paper clip is going to go up. What do we think is going to happen if the air pressure on the outside is really low?
It's probably
down.
Yeah, so the balloon is going to expand, and the air on the inside of the jar is going to be trying to get out, and it's going to push the balloon, so there's going to be like a bubble on the top kind of. And if that happens, you can imagine the paper clip is going to go down. I can't really show you what it looks like because I would have to push it from the inside of the jar, which I can't really do. But you can imagine that if the balloon bubbles up, that the paper clip and the pen are going to go, or the star are going to go like this, and it's going to go down. All right, so how does this relate to weather? That's what meteorologists are trying to figure out. So when we have really low air pressure, that means that we're likely to have a storm or some clouds or some bad weather coming for us. If it's a high pressure, then we're probably gonna have sunny skies and a nice day out. So I think one way that this will become more clear is if we do a little look at my data that I've collected. Just hold tight, I wanna try something new. I think this will work. Oh my gosh. All right, can everyone see my screen? All right. So this is my data that I've collected. So I made this barometer on Sunday, and I've taken measurements every single day since Sunday at 4 p.m. So my initial measurement was that my paperclip, when I measured it with my glass on a flat surface and my ruler on a flat surface, was 16.4 inches. Centimeters, wait. Oh my gosh, you guys. Bad scientists, got the wrong units.
And then yesterday you wrote 16 meters.
16 meters? Guys. No.
That's a big change.
Imagine how big 16 meters would be. That'd be crazy. All right. So we're at 16.4 centimeters. And the next day when I measured it, actually it was later that night, it was at 15.3 centimeters. So that means that the air pressure went down. And that day, that night, we actually had clouds and rain. So remember what I said earlier is if air pressure goes down, the weather is going to go down. It's going to be bad. If the air pressure goes high, our spirits are going to go high. The weather is going to be high. The weather will be nice. So what we're going to do today is measure all of our paper clips today, and then we're going to measure them tomorrow, and we're going to see if our readings match the weather. So if our measurement today is 15 centimeters and our measurement tomorrow is 16, that means that the air pressure will have gone up and we should have nice weather. But if our measurement today is 15 and our measurement tomorrow is 14, that means the air pressure will have gone down and we're going to have poor weather. So, does everyone have their rulers? And a little flat surface that we can put our barometer and our ruler on? Okay, all of our measurements are going to be different since our glasses are all different sizes. What really matters is the difference between our measurement today and our measurement tomorrow. Okay, so we're just going to line up our rulers with the tippy tip of our paper clip.
Can you stop sharing your iPad so we can see you demonstrate this?
Yes, I can. All right. Everyone got their paper clip and their ruler lined up? All right. So this is where we go back to our lab notebooks. And we're going to say our first measurement of the day. And we're going to write down whatever the unit is. So we're going to look at the centimeter side that goes from 0 to 30. And so mine is right in between the 15 and the 16, which means it's going to be 15 and a half. So I'm going to write that down, that my measurement today is 15 and a half. Anyone else have their measurement that they can shout out? Yeah. I can share my screen again, I think. 16.5 Alina has. Cool, cool. .3, awesome. And we're writing them down in our field notebooks and our lab notebooks. Ruthvika's got to go, that's all right. Okay. All right, I'm just going to share my little table one more time. So I know somebody wanted to see the graph. Everyone can see my professor there, looking funny. All right. Okay. So if you want to take a picture or a little screenshot of this, go ahead, go right for it. Or try and copy it down into your notebook. I can also send this to Farah and she can send it to you in an email if you guys want. All right. And so what we're going to do tomorrow is look back at our measurement today, and we're going to take a quick one tomorrow, and we're going to look at our weather, and we're going to see if they match up. Does that make sense? Yeah? All right. I don't want to take too much of the time because the other lab is way more fun and less boring than this one. Whoa, that is so cool. Ariel says she measured hers and then took it outside, and then it was 10 centimeters outside when it was 9 inside. That's pretty cool.
Whoa.
Thank you, Geraldine. Thank you. That is really cool. I would love to hear what happens when you guys take them outside, maybe into your basement or upstairs or into a room that's really hot or a room that's really cold in your house, and you can write down what happens. And if nothing happens, you can write that down too, because that's always good to keep track of also. All right, I'm gonna stop sharing my, oh, perfect.
Ocean, what would happen if you put it in the freezer?
In the freezer? Well, let's see. If the air inside the freezer is really cold, do we think it's going to be more dense or less dense than the air outside of the freezer? Just a guess. Well, why don't we test it? Does anyone want to volunteer to put theirs in the freezer tonight and then take it back out tomorrow? Claire and Geraldine, perfect. Okay, so why don't we test that little hypothesis, and you can make a guess in your lab notebook. I think that the barometer in the freezer will have a higher reading than the barometer outside the freezer, or I think it'll have a lower reading. Okay. We still got some people trying to fit theirs on the can. I commend your effort here. All right. Does everyone feel like they have a nice little barometer that they can come back to tomorrow and look at, and they've got their initial reading? Yes. Alina says, all right. All right, all right. Okay. So I will send you guys all the information about high pressure and low pressure and high readings and low readings in a little email so that you can check that and you can make your hypothesis, and we'll check back tomorrow. How about? All right. Does anyone have any questions about their cool new weather device? Maybe if you took a glass from your kitchen, your parents might not be so happy if you keep it in there forever, but it is cool to have for a little bit at least. Shreya's got to go. All right. Well,
Mine didn't change.
Oh.
I went to the fridge, to the freezer, and outside, and it didn't change.
Oh, well, sometimes you have to leave it in there for a little bit in order for the air to adjust, or for the balloon to adjust to the air pressure. So that's why I said if we leave it in overnight until tomorrow, we might have some different outcomes. So you can leave yours in a different room tonight and then figure out what it's like in the morning, or leave it outside, or even just in your room, and see if the weather will affect it even if it's inside. I think we'll be surprised.